Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the NewJeans situation that I've kind of been reporting on briefly. So I'm doing a brief overview now. I put in the first video that it was part 1, so this is part 2. In the last video, I did forget to mention that NewJeans filed an objection to the court's provisional injunction decision prohibiting their independent activities because they disagree. They did say that they respected the court's decision, but we're going to get into that whole bit of them, quote unquote, respecting the court's decision. Now, just because you respect the court's decision, that doesn't mean that you can't file an objection. That's fine. You know, formality purposes, we respect the court's decision, but we disagree, so we're going to file an objection. It's not so much the filing of the objection as it is what they've been doing going to these foreign networks. No, we'll get into it. We'll get into it properly. Okay, so starting off, as I said, NewJeans has filed an objection to the court's provisional injunction decision prohibiting their independent activities. They filed that because they don't, of course, agree with the ruling, so they filed it, right? Pretty self-explanatory. An objection is a formal written statement submitted to the court expressing disagreement or opposition to a legal action, motion, or other proceeding. And it's a way to formally protest something in a legal proceeding. Basically what I just said, that it was an action that was done in disagreement to the court's decision. So now we're going to get into the ComplexCon thing, all right? Again, this news is for people that probably did not know anything about it, didn't really keep up with it, probably don't care, but at least you'll be up to date on this channel as to what's going on. And it's just strictly news. It's not much of my opinion, but you will hear my opinion. Not much of it, but you will hear it, okay? So let's get into it. On March 23rd, during the ComplexCon performance, the girls had announced that this performance may be their last for quite a while. Quote, following the court's decision, we've decided to halt all activities. It wasn't an easy decision, but it's necessary for us right now, end quote. Since the girls couldn't perform their other music, they performed a new song titled Pit Stop, and the song is under, quote unquote, the new name of NJZ. In light of this, Adore put out a statement saying that they regret the girls' performance under the new name NJZ and their announcement to suspend all activities without consulting Adore. And even after all of this, Adore is continuing to take the high road by stating the following. Quote, we remain committed to our contract and hope to discuss further plans with the artists soon, end quote. And y'all are being very kind to these girls because I wouldn't call them artists at all. They're just idols. They don't write their own music. They don't produce their own music. They're just idols. That's just my 2 cents. Not that anybody asked for it. I'm just saying. Apparently they had an interview with BBC News Korea, and I'll just give a quick rundown of what was said. They said all the decisions they made over the past year resulted from extensive internal discussions, and that it's not comfortable for them to keep bringing this stuff up. The reason why they said that is because it involves another team, and they don't want to negatively impact said team. I'm saying they and them as a collective, but it is important to note that Hani was speaking at that time. And she also followed up on those previous statements by also saying that people think that just because they're young that they're taking the matter lightly, but insists strongly that they're not. She goes on saying that they've always agreed among themselves that if any one member had a disagreement, then the whole group would not proceed. This is a quote from Hani. Decisions can only be made with all 5 members in agreement, end quote. Danielle follows up saying that after the court's decision, they expected a different outcome. And this is me quoting her, quote, everyone who saw the news was shocked, end quote. Not me. Not me. Maybe there were some people that were shocked that was on y'all's side, but a lot of us were not shocked at all by this. Now, this statement here is what gets me. Quote, we just want to keep working. We want to do what we love without interference, lies, or misunderstandings, end quote. I'm going to let that sit for a while. I'm sure you guys probably have your thoughts on it. I got mine too. All right, you sat long enough. Let's go. All right, so let me see if I can wrap this up cohesively. This is my overview, personal opinion on what has been going on so far. It seems to me that their belief is that the unfavorable ruling of the court shows that there are broader issues within the Korean entertainment industry and shows that the industry needs to change. This is what I was saying before, that they believe themselves to be the perfect example of mistreatment within the K-pop industry, and that they see themselves as the ones who will break the cycle of industry-wide mistreatment. The court's ruling was that they have to perform under a door, but they performed under the name NJZ. Everything they've said and done flies in the face of that, making their situation even worse, in my humble opinion. And Adore is standing there with arms open wide saying, "Come back home, we will keep the door open and continue to uphold the contract that you claimed we broke by firing Min Hee-jin as CEO, as well as other things that they claimed broke the contract or made the contract null and void." Again, there are real cases and real examples of mistreatment. Okay, I've mentioned Omega X. One that I haven't mentioned is Luna. You guys remember the K-pop group Luna, the girl group? Even JYJ, formerly of TVXQ. Like, all of these examples of mistreatment are right there. There was another example that I did bring up in a previous video about the Japanese group. The guy who formed the Japanese group was doing very disgusting and inappropriate things with them. These are underaged boys that he's doing these very disgusting things to. And those boys never got justice for that. And that's Japan, but it's still the same kind of industry, right? There were cases that I had seen YouTube videos from God knows when, years back, talking about some of the mistreatment and the disgusting nature of some of these companies and agencies mistreating their idols, having the idols do inappropriate things with businessmen who are investing into that group or into that company, and basically telling these idols, both men and women, boys and girls, that if you don't comply with what they want, your career will be over, things like that. I've heard of stories like that, having them do like sexual favors for investors and stuff like that. NewJeans is trying to make it seem like their mistreatment, or what they did reveal of their mistreatment, is something similar to this, and I don't see it. They haven't revealed it. They said, of course, like I said before, they said there was additional evidence. We've seen none yet, so there's that. We're still waiting for it. Maybe they've got a trick up their sleeve and we'll pull it out when it's necessary. I feel like when it was necessary was like a long time ago. Like, honestly, I think I'm also going to make a video of what's the difference between KG's claims of what JYP USA, or whatever it's called, have done to her and apparently to the other members as well, and what they're going through, and what Hani's claims and what NewJeans' claims are. Like, the difference between the two, I think that should be a video, definitely, which will take some time, but I'm definitely willing to do that. To cap this video off, this is one of the most interesting things I found NewJeans to be doing at this point in time. It's interesting that they have halted all activities due to the court's ruling, all in an attempt to not perform under a door, and instead are now going into the foreign media space and talking about how they've been mistreated, not just by a door, but now the court ruling, and that these actions against them shows that the industry needs to change, and that they're the ones who will be the flagship for that change. And I just don't see that. And if it happens, I'm telling you, the industry is going to be messed up even more than it already is. There's a lot of good things happening. As I mentioned, JYJ was mistreated. They finally have come back. That should never have happened. It should not have been this long that they had come back. It should not have been that long that they were able to be blacklisted like that. It's evil, but we're seeing a change because now they're back. And they openly talk about how SM mistreated them and how SM did them wrong. They openly talk about it without shame. And I'm glad. I am so glad to see that. That's the kind of fighting back against tyrannical companies that we need to see. What we don't need to see is someone giving one little story about someone telling another person to ignore you, and then that story being the flagship story for mistreatment, and then them saying, oh, well, we've got more, but we can't reveal it yet, even though it would definitely help you guys a lot if you did. But yeah, that's basically it. I don't really have much else to say. Like I said, if I found anything like court related, I would definitely talk about it. But other than that, that's it. Really, that's it. So this is part 2 of the report that I was wanting to talk about. If I left anything out or if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. If I'm missing any information or if I might have gotten something wrong or whatever, let me know in the comments respectfully, and I will definitely look at it. And I do want to say this again, this is the whole point of why I'm even talking about this. In any other circumstance where everything is very clear as to what's going on, the mistreatment and all that, and there's like evidence substantiating the claims, I would be on NewJeans' side. Like, seriously, I don't care about being a bunny or being a hype stan or anything like that. I just care about the truth. That's all I care about, because what I've seen, the evidence that I've seen and that we've all been looking at, if they get away with this sets a very dangerous precedent. I've said it many times that idols can do this to companies who haven't actually done anything inherently evil except what companies are supposed to do. And the damage that Minhee Jin has inflicted on Adore, other CEOs of subsidiaries can do the same thing, trying to get rid of the contracts or whatever, or saying that this side breached the contract and therefore makes the contract null and void, you know, basically lying on the company so that they can break free from it and do their own thing without compensating the company or paying any kind of damages or anything, because you have damaged the company by doing all that you've done. This sets a very dangerous precedent if they get away with it. And that's where I'm going to leave this off. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, it is your boy Moonlight signing out. Peace. Love you guys. Bye.